1 year ago, I was introduced to Jong and his company II Arcade at the CES trade show in Las Vegas. While there, I got to chat with Jong on his thoughts and opinions of the current home arcade gaming market. I was then given the opportunity to test out one of the early prototype samples of the II Arcade product itself, of which had me very impressed in many different aspects. An arcade that could not only play amazing retro games, but also newer, more graphically intensive modern games as well. Flash forward a year later, and II Arcade has come off with a very successful Kickstarter campaign, raising over $660,000 with 1,400 different backers. I personally purchased this early bird bar top unit here for $249, and I chose to spend an additional $50 to upgrade the internal memory from 64GB to 128GB of storage. Since I was an early backer, I also got a unique perk in that I was given a numbered plaque signed by Jong, indicating my place as one of the first 100 people to have ordered this machine. The II Arcade machine itself comes in a few different configurations. The basic bar top you see before you adorned with Tron-esque artwork, as well as the additional optional base stand available to raise this machine up to a more traditional arcade standing height. And there was also 2 special edition variants, each adorned with either a Dragon's Lair or Double Dragon theme artwork, as well as upgraded SandWall components. The machine itself arrived flat-packed and appeared to be well protected inside, and all the parts and components were individually boxed and labeled, which was a nice touch. Assembling the machine was very simple and easy to accomplish, and the machine itself does feel very sturdy and well built at the end. If you put together an IKEA bookshelf or the like before, then you'll be very familiar with the assembly process here. The plexiglass monitor bezel shipped with a single-sided protective film, and while the bezel was plastic wrapped inside the shipping box, I still noticed it managed to get a few scratches on the bezel overlay, which could have been easily avoided had they used protective film on both sides of the plexi when preparing it for shipment. The joysticks and the buttons on this standard unit are not Sanwa branded products, but rather high-end clones of those components. They perform well enough on this machine, and I had no issues playing any of the included games on this machine with them. And I don't think others who buy this machine will have any issues playing these games. Though to be completely honest, as a personal preference, I will be replacing the buttons and joysticks with something more fitting of my personal playing style and preferences. Of which it is important to note that if you have any desire to be making any modifications to your internal controls, you will in fact immediately be voiding your warranty, so keep that in mind. There's also the inclusion of a 3.5mm headphone jack on the control deck for those of you wishing to play their games in relative quiet in their homes. The control deck utilizes the same high-quality graphics as the side panels, and while there is no acrylic overlay protecting the control panel, it's really not necessary in this case since they're using higher quality materials for these graphics, which increases the overall durability of the artwork. You'll have no issue with rubbing the graphics away with the oils in your hands while playing this machine, though the glossy nature of these graphics do lend themselves to being extra prone to showing fingerprints. One of the most impressive features on this machine that helps set it apart from other competitors in the space is the 19-inch display. It looks absolutely fantastic on this machine, and the little subtle things like the rounded corners of the trim mounting piece are a really nice touch. Colors are nice and vibrant, and there are zero issues with the washed out viewing angles on this screen. Additionally, there is also a built-in HDMI out port on this arcade that allows users to connect a video capture device to record their gameplay or live stream their gameplay online. In place of a traditional illuminated marquee, II Arcade has instead placed 2 speakers prominently facing the players, pumping out over 100 watts of sounds atop of this arcade. It's staggeringly impressive just how loud the sound can get at its highest levels. This inclusion is yet another one of the many facets that helps this particular home arcade differentiate itself from other offerings out there in the retail space. Included on this machine is a built-in library of 11 games, varying across all genres: modern, retro, shooter, puzzle, platform, fighter, sports, you name it. There's a little taste of something for everyone in this mix. And if you find yourself looking to add even more to your multi-arcade experience, well, II Arcade has a store where you can actually purchase even more officially licensed games directly through a phone app or their web store. Game prices do vary from title to title, but as of the making of this video, there are literally hundreds to choose from, and the promise of a continued growth and support of even more titles to come. I've had a really great experience overall with the included titles on this machine, and I think II Arcade did a really great job of handpicking some great games to start everyone off with. The addition of a pause button is a nice little feature, as there's been many times where I wish I could casually take a moment of rest while playing an arcade game that in the past just wasn't able to do so because of the way those original machines are set up. Online multiplayer is a nice feature for the games that support it, and I was happy to see just how well the built-in Wi-Fi worked in these instances of playing Bomb Squad online over Wi-Fi. I didn't experience any latency or lag issues, and overall it was a fantastic experience. One thing I'm sure that's in the works for a future firmware update that I wish was included now would be access to the game store natively through the arcade. On the current firmware version, players will either have to purchase the additional games using a computer or a cell phone, but it's entirely separate from the arcade itself. There is no store tab or anything built into the menus that allows you to simply buy a game from the arcade itself, which is strange given the machine's built-in Wi-Fi capabilities. The UI of this machine is very straightforward, with the built-in titles all neatly categorized into genre subsections and can be best described as a simplistic and clean design aesthetic. The Settings tab will allow you to set up and check certain details like your Wi-Fi connection, connect to Bluetooth devices such as headphones, change the screen brightness, and check on the storage space status of your machine. I do wish there were more in-game settings options available to the players though. Things like changing the aspect ratio of the games, adding scan lines, changing button input configurations, all of these things would be welcome options to be available, but are simply not present with this firmware currently. The retail asking price of this machine, with the optional base stand, will run a person anywhere from $750 to $800 depending on which version they choose to go with. A premium asking price for sure, and while the machine does feel premium in build and features for the most part, there are still a few small nitpicks that hold it back. Namely, the taped-on T-molding along the sides of this machine. It just simply feels like a rather odd choice to not include actual T-molding on this arcade at this specific asking price. And for a machine that is evidently so well designed and engineered, it just feels like an obvious oversight. In the end, I'm happy with my purchase and I was happy to support II Arcade. Time will tell how successful the company and the product will be, especially in terms of seeing what additional titles make their way into the store offerings, as that will really be a true barometer of success for the longevity of this particular arcade platform. II Arcade provides a well-built, home multicade experience to the end user and removes any of the risk or technical know-how in terms of modding or building your own home arcade. If you're a person that just wants to download and play thousands of games off of something like a Raspberry Pi or a similar device, well, this isn't the arcade machine for you. But it will definitely perform well for those that choose to support this machine, and it's a nice alternative for those who want access to a plethora of games through officially licensed means. As a whole though, I will have to say that II Arcade CEO Jong-Wook Shin is, in my humble opinion, the metric for what a CEO of a gaming company should strive to be. His dedication and commitment to the II Arcade fans and owners is second to none. He live streams on a regular weekly basis, answering fans' direct questions and providing transparent information and news breaks surrounding the latest happenings within the company. His positive outlook and sunny disposition is always a pleasure to see firsthand, and little things like him sending out personal, handwritten thank you cards to individuals who have supported the brand will not be forgotten, and I'm happy to support both Jong and II Arcade with their future endeavors. That does it for this video. If you're interested in purchasing your own II Arcade, I'll have links down in the video description box below. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you hit that like button and share this video with your friends if you found the information helpful. And as always, thanks for watching guys. It really means a lot.